Hey y'all, welcome to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And we're coming to you from Rhinebeck.
Poughkeepsie.
Well, Poughkeepsie, yeah.
Yes.
If you're looking for us on social media, you can find the podcast at Knitting in Our Jeans on Instagram, and we do have a Ravelry group.
Which isn't often updated because it's left to me.
And you can find me as Toolizz for you, TOOLIZZFORYOU on Instagram and Ravelry.
On Ravelry, I'm CPREDMOR, and on Instagram, I'm Knitting in Our Jeans. Yes.
Because she ended up creating a new account for herself when she accidentally deleted her personal Instagram
on
when
my phone.
Switching back and forth to the podcast.
I stay just
we
as
now
Knitting in Our
just stay
Jeans.
as that because it's easier.
Much easier. Much easier. So we're going to do this chronologically. And yes, I'm in dark black because I want to show off the things that I wore on different days. I arrived on Wednesday night intending to see a friend. Well, we were intending to have dinner with friends, but then Elizabeth had to work on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I came up on Wednesday because that's where the reservation started, and I didn't want to lose the reservation by changing it. But anyway, I wanted to...
it rained like cats and dogs.
Right.
So Mom didn't want to leave the hotel, so she stayed in on Wednesday.
Well, I just wanted to say that what I packed to come up was my roll of needles.
I walk in the hotel room and I see it, and I was like, you brought the whole thing? And she goes, it was just easier to take the hanger.
Yes. It's all organized. When I was using them, I took them out. When I didn't need them, I put them away. It rolls right up, and it's going to go into a knitting bag. So that worked out really well. I think we've mentioned that we've got a couple babies coming into the family.
Mm-hmm.
So on Thursday, even though I'm up here for the New York Sheep and Wool Festival.
Yes.
Well, first I went to Dick's Sporting Goods because I thought they were open earlier than Michael's because I put on what I thought were my heavy woolen pants. And in the breeze, they weren't heavy at all. And I realized I hadn't brought up some of my winter tights, which is what I always wear in conjunction with those pants.
Yes.
I was freezing. And it was about 10 degrees colder than I had read in the last weather report. So I took myself off to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I bought 2 sets of runner's pants. Excellent life decision. It's made all the difference in the world this week. And then I bought 2 exercise tops because I have been going to the gym at least once a week, if not more often. So those will be really helpful. They're roomy. They're very comfortable. So that's great. So then from Dick's, I went to Michael's. And I know some people think I ought to hang my head in shame for going to Michael's, but I don't.
No.
When your knitting client or an intended person hasn't even been born yet, the likelihood that they're going to be aware of how you need to treat wool, or even something better, there's no way. They're going to lose their lunch over almost everything they wear. It's just going to be the way.
So that being said, yes, you have seen us knit from our very nice stash, but we are also using a bunch of Michael's yarn for other baby stuff.
So I bought Patons. This says sport. It doesn't feel like sport. It feels like a very thin fingering. And I have 2 of them. And I am knitting a baby dress. So it starts at the top, and I knitted for 3 inches to make that neck edge opening there. And then when this raglan gets to be just less than 6 inches, then I stop that raglan sleeve increase, and it just continues straight down. The raglan sleeve really is just cast off at that point. It becomes one of these little flouncy sleeves. And I figured that this could be a top over a t-shirt or over a long sleeve shirt and over a pair of baby pants. So
baby leggings.
Baby leggings, yes. So I have been working on this when I couldn't be working on my leaf cardigan
Mm-hmm.
because that sucker has gotten huge. And I'll show you that because I wore that today. So that'll be in today's chronological discussion is right. So I bought at Michael's 2 skeins of this, and this is...
You said Patton's.
It's Patton's, but it's
Acrylic
70% acrylic and nylon, so it's incredibly washable, and I think will be very useful.
Very soft.
Oh, it's incredibly soft, and it's a light gray. It's white with light gray, and I'm losing my voice again.
Me too. But
but that wasn't the only thing I bought at Michael's. There is a gorgeous pattern in piecework for a baby sweater, a baby cardigan. And the first thing I picked up for it is this, which is ginormous. This is Lion Brand. This is Ice Cream, Big Scoop, and boy, they're not kidding. This is called Grand Coup.
No, that's just another language.
That's right. It's 100% acrylic. I was actually have gone to Michael's to find something I was hoping to find 50% acrylic and 50% wool. But I found 200% acrylics. This is mint, and I'm very pleased. The mother says she'll take any color combination, and I said, this fits. And then
that's so pretty.
I found the Patton's Croy socks, and these are 75% wool, 25% nylon.
And they're in 50-gram balls, and they're lovely for socks, but they will also be lovely
for a baby cardigan. So I have enough of these to make that piecework cardigan. So whether I use this for the baby cardigan or use this for another baby item or some baby item and my socks, that's up for grabs. But this is what started my weekend at Rhinebeck. I thought you'd get a kick out of my bringing the small collection of needles. Now I know that I've got several collections of interchangeable needles, none of which are my favorite at this point because, well, I like knitting with the darn pretty needles.
You've broken too many.
Well, I've broken one. It was a size 8. It wasn't even one of the sizes I normally break, which is 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Mm-hmm.
I've broken...
Sorry for the outside noise. We have the window open at the hotel.
Yeah.
And so...
I've broken a size 7 signature wood. But I like working with the wood. As I've mentioned before in this podcast, Miss Babs was the person who suggested the darn pretty needles because they're wood and they've got a nice sharp point. But I also have a number of whips, and we think that come the new year we will do another podcast showing the whip situation. I swear it is better, much better than it was.
Because I'm pretty sure I frogged. We're gonna rewatch it. I think either this week or next week. And the old airing of the whips that we did, just to see. But I'm pretty sure I have frogged everything that was in that frog pile you handed me.
Oh yes. So it's either been frogged or it's still set aside to be knit, and I have done several of them.
Yeah.
So that is really, really, really good. So that was my Thursday, and then Elizabeth came up.
We brought this up because Mom wants to liberate the needles that are in those projects.
In the whips. And some of my darn pretty needles are in those whips. So for me, it was easier to bring my hanging collection of needles than it was to bring one of the sets, because the other thing I've done is I've somewhat intermingled the interchangeable sets. And these are usually the fixed circulars, which I have had better luck with in terms of not breaking them. And I break them in 2 ways. I either break the needle tip and it just cracks somewhere in the middle. I also break the connection between the cord and the needle tip holder. Yeah, that place there. So I have been knitting, and all of a sudden the needle tip is flying free in my hand. And I can remember we were at knit night, and somebody said, well, just screw it back. I said, well, I can't.
Because they thought
came
that
off
it
at the cord.
They thought it had unscrewed.
Right, and unscrewing doesn't bother me. I know that I hold my needles tight and I tend to unscrew. That doesn't really bother me. And usually I can feel the catch before they come off. So that's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I sincerely break needles up and have broken up to a size 8, which is not to be sneezed at. So anyway, that's why I have my collection of needles here. So I picked Elizabeth up at the train. I had made dinner reservations at Terrapin in Rhinebeck.
Which was lovely.
Yes, originally we were going to just tour Rhinebeck if she'd been able to come up with me on Wednesday. I toured instead Poughkeepsie and have found the Galleria, so I could have had a lovely day shopping there. And so once I got done with Michael's, I came back and I was working on my jacket, on my cardigan, and I made a great deal of progress on that. And in fact, I wore it today over to Rhinebeck, and I think it's a pretty respectable. We were told, and we will tell you later in the podcast by someone who should know, that it is a respectable length. I do think that, one, I've got a lot of yarn left, so I'm going to do at least one more pattern, maybe 2, because right now it's more of a crop jacket, and that's not really my thing. But I have decided that I'm not going to be doing any more size increases. It doesn't need to be any wider than it is. It is nice and warm, so that's great. So anyway, that was our Thursday. We had a very nice dinner at Terrapin.
And they were extremely accommodating with our food allergies.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a farm to table, but they do have mostly local ingredients
Mm-hmm.
in their dishes, which is something I try to look for if I'm going to go somewhere special, just because it's nice to have. But I have found that a lot of those places are not as accommodating to food allergies because everything's local and cream and milk and
mm-hmm.
Which is fine. But it really excites me when I get to go to a farm to table kind of place. I unfortunately had to work on Thursday. I worked, and then at my office. I then had a meeting, which is great. I mean, I had been asking for this meeting to be set up. It's a meeting with Villanova and our company, and I had been asking for this meeting for probably the last 3 years. But really for the last 6 months, it's really been pushed into high gear because another Villanovan just got back from law school and has joined kind of rejoined the company. He was a project manager. Now he's in
the legal department.
Yeah, he's now in our legal department. But now he's been pushing kind of what I've been trying to push. But he's in main office every day. So it's easier for him to be a bit more pushy about this. So Mom and I decided that I could not miss this meeting, even though it was just a fact-finding kind of meeting. I should be there because I've been wanting to do it and have it happen. So after that, I caught the train up from Grand Central. It is a wonderful train ride. I took, I think, the 318 out.
Yes.
And it was lovely. Yes, it was right before peak travel time, so it was a bit crowded, but I still got a 2-seat by myself, which was great. And it was really beautiful. Like it was a really beautiful trip.
You're coming up by the river, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be so nice just to take the train again, because it wasn't all that expensive. It was like a $20 ticket, which if you're driving up here, tolls are, there are a bunch of tolls, so and gas. So
Plus, I was here with the car.
And she was already here with the car.
You can park for free at the Poughkeepsie train station after 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so that when she was coming in, which was
5:15, 5:30.
I had there were, parking spaces that were open. There are, I think, 3 or 4 different parking areas. I parked in the first one I could find, which was a little bit up the hill because I didn't know what I was going to find down the hill. And there are a number of one-way streets in Poughkeepsie, and I was afraid I'd be funneled onto a one-way street and almost not find my way back, knowing my learning disabilities issue. So I found a labeled Poughkeepsie parking area. I found an open parking space, and I was going to knit. I was going to start on this baby dress. I had taken a pair or a length of circular needle out of my hanging bag. I had rolled it up, and I thought I put it in my backpack.
We still haven't found those, have we?
No, it disappeared. I had the yarn, I had the pattern, but I had no needles.
It disappeared like your cartilage.
Yes,
just
totally gone. So it's not in the room. It's not in the car. Maybe it dropped out in the driveway down here, but I have a backpack. I had strapped the backpack. I have no idea where those needles went. They were size 2 needles. Now, the only thing I can think of is the good Lord was looking out for me, because on Ravelry it said to use size 2s. In the pattern it said to use size 3s. So the pair that I lost was a pair of size 2 wooden needles. Were they pretty? They were very pretty ones, but they were probably ones that I could have easily broken within the next week and a half. So these things happen, and I have other size 2s.
Yeah, you do.
In there. Yeah, I have about 5 more pairs of size 2s.
So on the train, I did some work, and I did some knitting on actually the sweater I'm wearing. And then we got to Poughkeepsie. We had to come back to the hotel here because I had to send out some documents for the office and check in with my coworkers, which we did, and it was great. And then we went to dinner, as we said, and that was great.
It was great, yeah.
And then we came back, and we watched Great British Bake Off from last week. So we haven't caught up
we
yet.
haven't caught up this week.
I just realized we haven't caught up this week yet.
We have been busy since I picked her up at the train.
Yeah.
So we sat there, watched Great British Bake Off, and knitted on our various projects, I think. Yeah. So you knitted on that sweater, and I knitted on my cardigan.
Coat. Yeah.
Yes. So then dawns Friday. And Friday we spent at
Indian Tangled. Oh, I forgot my t-shirt over there. We volunteered, so we have purple Indian Tangled. Okay. I'm surrounded by my stuff to show you on the bed over here, and Mom's closer to the edge. So we got up early. We got up and out by about 7:15.
Yeah, we did well.
We did well getting out. And we drove up to Saugerties. We got a parking spot up in the back lot for Indian Tangled, which was great because Mom, we were able to leave the car there for Indian Tangled. So this is the t-shirt we got as volunteers. It's super cute. It's super soft. I've worn it every night to bed.
We're going to refer to that in a little bit because it refers to our job.
Oh, yes, it does refer to our job. So we got up there, we checked in, and then we were able to shop.
Right, you want to start?
Which was lovely. So as volunteers, we also got the Indie Untangled gift, goodie bag.
Yes.
So in the Indian Tangled...
Yeah, does everybody get one of those?
So everyone in the 10 to 12 spot gets it. You can also order it separately.
Okay. Because I knew that the year that we were still at the Best Western,
I had ordered these separately for us.
And I had gotten the first special tickets. Because what happened when they were at the Best Western is the first shopping time had less people.
Yes.
Yes. And so that special shopping time got these bags.
Which is still what happens.
Which is still the case. Okay.
The first group is the more, they are the more expensive tickets, so you do get a bag included in that.
And I think there's fewer people.
I think they're the same amount in each time group now.
Okay.
Because all of them are time, because...
It's all time.
It's all ticketed
Whereas
times.
Before it was
an hour to 2 hours of early access where you paid for...
And then it was anybody who came could come.
Yeah.
Okay.
So... the first thing I did when we got the bag was to put all of the goodies in a little bag from Mustache Yarns that came in it. So what's in the Indian Tango bag? There's a little notebook and pen from Murky Depths.
Yay. I'm always looking for
There's
things to
a
write on.
knitting gnome from Twill and Print. It's a sticker. There's a community sticker from Neighborhood Fiber
Oh,
Arts.
it's a sticker?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a sticker.
All right.
There's a code for West Knits. I hope I didn't just show you all my code.
And I haven't bought his most recent book, so I'm looking forward to buying his most recent book.
Yeah, I have a few patterns I'm going to get. There's a button pin. It's a pin. From
cute.
Hello Mellow. And then Ply, Pancake and Lulu yarn. Has a stitch marker and a little sample. There is little removable stitch markers, the like light bulb stitch markers from Woodsy and Wild, and also a sticker.
Nice.
There is a tape measure from One More Row, right? One More Row? Yeah, One More Row Press.
And they're advertising their new book, I Knit San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. And then EMYAC has a percentage off. Plied Yarns, which is the new collaboration between Ann Weaver and Karita Collins from Neighborhood Fiber Company. They are now doing a
marled.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A marled that is spun and dyed by
Ann.
Or it's dyed by Karita and
spun,
and Ann is overseeing the mill spinning. Yeah. I think it's debuted online already, or it is in the very near future. I think it debuted a few weeks ago, actually.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think they debuted a few weeks ago, and because I was jealous, I was upset that we hadn't known about it enough time. No, it was last weekend, I believe, because I was very upset because I was thinking that you could go to it if we were down there at Annapolis together. But Daddy would have never been okay with it. So
no.
Plied is now a thing. I think their first shop that they're going to be in is, I think they're in a few shops, and I think they're having an event, is what I'm trying to say, at Fiberspace next week or the week after.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah.
I cannot be down. It's on a weekend.
Again, one time that we would love to go down and see them. But it's a super cool thing. It's just more, they're a bit more bright, and they're solid throughout the skein kind of marling versus the Spin Cycle, which is a gradient of some sorts, and they change colors throughout the skein.
Okay.
Just as an option, as an alternative option to some other things. And then Onyx Fiber Arts has a little card in there. There's a notebook from Casapinka. There's a note card, who I can't remember who it's by, but lovely note card. There's some, everyone I think has.
Mine's a little silly. It shows the bottom half of a baby, so I've got a diaper and two legs coming from the diaper.
I mean, it's kind of cute.
And a pair of socks.
Oh,
you're the only person
socks
that I could send it to.
Yeah. Then you got a Lola Bean Peach Heart yarn sticker.
Yes.
A Fiberspace chair. A Fiberspace wraps per inch tool.
Cool.
Leading Men. A Leading Men Fiber Arts coupon and mini.
Very pretty.
A Knot House Yarns mini. An Asylum Fibers mini of the show colorway.
It was gorgeous.
It was. And then the Espace Tricot, this knitting bag belongs to Carabiner. Oh, and an Air de Lune pin back. So that's what came in our little goodie bags. But of course, the goodies.
We added to it.
Yeah. So we did get to shop early from 9 to 10 because we were volunteering. Our volunteer time was at noon.
Yes.
So we did walk around. Oh, sorry, I also forgot. There's this little bag of stuff from Spruce Lane Designs, which is a pen that I can't get out right now. 2 information cards about Marinated Yarns, which is a mini from them, and also a discount code for Spruce Lane Designs.
Nice.
And a pen that I can't get out of the bag. I will get it out later, but it will take some effort. So that was.
But it's very nice and certainly could help
Yes.
hold notions.
Yes.
In the notions that you need for your current project, which is nice.
Yeah. So
I brought my entire notions bag. Yes, it's a huge canvas black bag, and I realized that that's not really optimal. Because it just sits there, and then I don't want to go in it. So it's good to have at the corner of the sofa when I want to go digging for it. But I really need to get a clear plastic zipper bag.
Okay.
For traveling, and bring 1 pair of scissors, 1 measuring tape, not 17.
Right. So we did go shopping.
You want to start off?
I got only a few things.
It all fit in her bag.
Yeah, it all fit in my bag. So I also had some pre-orders. So I had I had ordered some Katrinkles items. Sorry about the crinkling. So I got, and I haven't put them on yet because
it's been busy.
But I have some Rhinebeck 2019 sweater tags because I thought I was going to have another sweater done, but that's okay. I got the Rhinebeck Indian Tangled custom stitch markers for the year. They're all different sheep breeds. They're really cute. And I got the removable, the pins because I keep on needing to find removable stitch markers more than my ring stitch markers. And then I also got the faux suede tags that have, 2 have different sheep on them. 1 has hearts and 1 says Rhinebeck 2019. So I picked that up from Katrinkles.
Uh-huh.
And then I also picked up my Indian Tangled skein of yarn from Lola Bean Yarn Co.
Whoa.
I got it on Pinto Bean, which is the DK weight. It is a beautiful green and purple with a little bit of burnt orange.
It's gorgeous.
It's really pretty. So I got that. And then on my first pass through, I got... What did I get? I got a skein of Trellis in the color Do You Trust Me, which is an Aladdin reference. And it is the 100% Superwash BFL. I think this is destined to become socks because it's really, really lovely twist. However, I also did just check out the Lizzie brioche shawl that Suzanne Somers did, and of Sozu Knits, and I think I might use this as one of the colors. So we'll see, because it is meant for Trellis yarns. I also picked up a skein of Mustache Yarns in their beer tasting colorway for the year. Local Craft Flight is what it's called, for a friend of mine. And then I picked up a skein of Sweater Weather, which is 100% Superwash Merino, worsted, 275 yards, and it's in Dark Side EVP. And I had picked it up for a sweater for the knee sling.
Mm-hmm.
It might become socks for me. It's really pretty.
Very
and
pretty.
I really like DK weight socks, as we've discussed before, for work. So we'll see about that. And then on my second pass through, after we volunteered, I got a pair of Birdie Parker Designs earrings.
So pretty.
They're so pretty.
They're
so pretty. They're metal. They're a bronze kind of copper color. I'm very excited to wear these. Like, very excited. And then I saw that Tao from Nerdbird Makery still was selling yards of her fabric that has crochet or knit or spinner, maker, sewist, stitcher, crafter designs on it. And so I got a yard of that because I think it's just beautiful. And I really love it. I think I am also going to get the stickers at some point in the near future because I think they're super cute. And I like the designs.
Cool.
So, Mom, what did you get at Indie Untangled?
Well, I've been saving up my pin money. And for people who are not cognizant of the term pin money, apparently that was the household account way back when. And I don't have a household account, whatever. We go and take money out of the bank, and then whatever's left over at the end of the week, I was stashing away and then saying, no, I have nothing. We have to go get more. So this is actually in the bag in reverse. So I made one pass through and then got stuck kind of at the south end, north end with La Bien-Aimée.
Yes.
And
we met Amy, who is lovely.
Yeah, so Amy, everybody else was busy. And and they had all the colors out on the table in front. And so you basically pointed to the colorway that you wanted and say, how many do you want? So I have a sweater's quantity of La Bien-Aimée, a cashmerino fingering in Flora, which is a pink, purple, gray,
speckly gloriousness.
And of course, you all know how much I love speckles. And then our friend Rachel came up and said, this booth, and I don't even know what booth it was that I bought it from.
It's the one that, can't remember Elise's company right now, but.
So it's Elise's company.
And she was in the booth with one geek to craft them all, and with Marsha, and with Lexi of Lexi Designs, who does the knitted ornaments. And I'm trying.
We know them.
Lexicorp, but it's, let's see, did she tag her? Yeah, Knit Spin Quilt.
Knit Spin Quilt. And she said they have sweater bags. And so with Rachel leading me down the path, I bought a sweater bag. And it's been very helpful to keep all of my Indie Untangled yarns in. So from there, I started back up to the front, and I think from there I went to Lolo Bean. And I now have 6 skeins.
Pinto bean?
Pinto bean. It's not even labeled.
Yeah, it is. I want to
know
what it is.
One it's labeled. Pinto bean, 100% superwash. There is 250 yards in each, and I have 6 of them. And I do have a sweater that's set aside on my queue towards the end that this will go into. It's got some really interesting pearl knit designs that end up with little triangles in the yoke. So I got that from Lola Bean. I can't speak. I'm lucky I have a voice.
I know. And
Give me a break.
We met Adela, and we got hugs from Gigi, her booth babe.
Yes.
And what Mom isn't telling you is that when we met Amy at the Brooklyn General Shop, Mom said, "Oh, I need 4. I'm going to make a sweater," and Amy goes, "I understand. I make sweaters."
And I said, "Yes, I love sweaters, except I also make socks." She said, "I do too." So I said, "I think we're sisters, separated at birth." And we decided that I since we were retiring and we could live anywhere, I told my husband that we could move to Paris. We could get a small pied-à-terre in Paris, and it would be lovely. Of course, Richard would blanch.
Oh, he would die.
He'd be more than happy to visit Paris, and we've been several times. It's lovely. I'm not in my element as much as I am in London. Although I'm not bad, because I do at least have my French from school, and I learned it early enough that it doesn't leave me.
Yeah.
But he would not feel comfortable with living in Paris, but visiting is fine. And then I went to Air de Lune. I saw this. And I thought I would make a sweater out of that. But then I decided that Sweet Summer 4-ply fingering sock 100% superwash merino. And it is, what is that, 400 meters?
400 meters is like 425.
425. I decided that while it looks like sherbet, it's a little bit out of my comfort zone. So what I did was I bought 3 of a corresponding colorway, which is
Demarium the Light?
Dancer in the Light.
Dancer in the Light.
Dancer in the Light. So I'm figuring yoke and the body and sleeves. And I'm really excited about that. Then I went to Trey Liz because I was actually looking for purples, and I got sidetracked. And we know that a lot of color work, like Elizabeth's wearing, is 2 color.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that this as a body of a sweater and this as the color work
is
really going to be really pretty. And Trey Liz was there. This is Pandora. It's 100% superwash BFL, high twist fingering, so it would be great for socks. And this is Gorilla Girls on the same base. So my sweater should wear like iron.
Yeah.
And then...
But wait, there's more.
Yes. We took the shuttle into Saugerties.
Yes. So once our time was ended for shopping around as volunteers, our volunteer slot wasn't for another 2 hours. So we put our stuff in the car, and we met up with our friend Rachel, who also had volunteered and had done...
She volunteered on Thursday.
She volunteered on Thursday, so she had come to shop. And we took the shuttle into Saugerties.
Which is being paid for by Saugerties, apparently.
Yes. They run a little, kind of like a little, town tram in these shuttles. And it was funny because we ended up getting essentially the first shuttle into the town, and we had to yell at them to, stop because they hadn't stopped, really, after delivering people from the alternate parking area. Because they weren't expecting anyone yet to be ready to go
into the city
or into the town of Saugerties, and so we kind of we didn't really run. I ran, and Mom and Rachel yelled, and they stopped for us, and it was great.
We had a lovely discussion with the bus driver
about knees. Yes, we did.
Lovely man. We had 2 different bus drivers. They were both lovely.
Yes,
we went in. We had brunch since we started
at Love Bites Cafe.
Absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Also, very accommodating to food allergies.
Egg whites and bacon, and I can't remember what else, but it really was delicious. And then from brunch, we separated. Rachel was going one way, and we were going over to
the Perfect Blend,
right, where there was a trunk show.
Yep. There were many trunk shows at the Perfect Blend throughout the day and the weekend. We were there for the Emma's
Yarn. Look at this.
So Mom picked up a few.
This is a gray with hints of little orange and then speckles of blue. So it's like tinted shades of orange.
Yeah,
but
it's really
then
pretty.
There's speckles of blue that are all through it. And this is Ghost Stories. It is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, but it's 600 yards for 150 grams. So it will be very nicely machine washable. And I'm thinking My Boy Lollipop. Now, we met Nancy
later on Friday night.
And while the pattern is written for DK, she says that somewhere in Ravelry there is someone who did the math for the fingering My Boy Lollipop. And when I was looking for that on my phone, I can't find it.
Okay, I think she said it's in the group, so we'll have to look at her Ravelry group.
I tried to find the group on my phone, and that's not working. I'll have to do it on the computer.
Yeah.
But if we can't find it, then we'll do the math from the DK pattern. And
or you could hold it double.
I think I'd feel better.
Okay, doing the math.
Doing the math. So anyway, this is what I got with the My Boy Lollipop in mind. And then we did our 2 hours as volunteers right across from Mustache Yarn.
Yes.
So for 2 hours.
Mother was staring at Mustache Yarns.
Yes.
As I already said, I already had gotten 2 skeins, and I'm a big fan of them.
So this is what I got. This is called, it's
Karma.
Kama, Kama, Sport Self-Striping Sock. And there are 2 identical 50-gram skeins in this, so you can have identical socks. And I'm very excited about this. I think it's gorgeous. I saw it. She does a really good job of making up a sock in the colorway, so you can see how it's going to stripe.
Or at least a tube, because she does have just tubes that she then labels which section is what colorway.
So this was Mustache Yarn. Now what we did, sitting across from Mustache Yarn, was we were the photo booth. And so there are knitted versions.
Crocheted by my
right.
kind of thing.
Right, crocheted. They're, what, 3 feet tall?
Yeah, like 2 feet. 2 feet, 3 feet, yeah.
2.5 feet tall. And I would have one on my lap because this was supposed to be a seated volunteer position. I sat on my cane seat the entire time. And I waved the figure's hands at people.
She had Angora mostly on her lap, who is the
bunny.
bunny.
People to come and have their picture taken.
Yeah.
I think we were very successful in getting people to stop and take pictures. And the woman from Mustache Yarn came to me as we were packing up saying, you had more people come and take pictures than I have seen. So we didn't really walk around the frame. Elizabeth did that once where you could be in a booth and take pictures. But we had people lining up. To take pictures.
Yeah. I felt uncomfortable doing that because I felt like I was intruding on their shopping time, and so we just didn't. But others did, and you can see all those photos on Instagram. People are posting them all over, so that was fun. So that was that. And then
we drove back to Rhinebeck.
Yes, and we parked over by the Reformed Church.
I think so.
The Reformed Church, where we were going to be for the string night, the string thing knit night.
Which had dinner.
But we parked there because that was going to be our last stop. And we ended up taking a nap in the car, which was the most glorious decision we made. And then while we had driven through Rhinebeck, we had passed the Rhinebeck Yarn Bazaar area, and the line was absolutely crazy. So I had decided that I would try it again at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. It was supposed to close at 4, so I think I got out of the car like to walk over there.
At 6.
6, thank you. That's what I meant. And so I think I got out of the car at like 4:15 or so.
Ish.
So I walked over there, and I made friends in the line. It was fine. The line took about an hour and a half, and then it was very crowded, but you still were able to get through. As we said, we had already volunteered. My knees were really bothering me by that point. I had been wearing my pressure cuffs on both my knees, but I was really sore already and very tired. So once I got in, I saw my friend Amy, who was helping Diane from Lady Di, and Lady Di saw me and immediately offered me a seat in her booth. And so I actually just sat and played like Yarn Vanna White for her yarn for probably about, a half an hour, which was awesome. And as I was sitting there, I was staring at a DK weight skein of Bassett, which is for Angela Bassett's character in
Wakanda?
Yes, in Black Panther. And I had bought a skein of this in fingering weight to hold double for a DK weight sweater, like color work in a DK weight sweater. But when she had it in DK, I was like, I want that because it'll be perfect. And that way I don't have to worry about holding it double. And now I have it in both. So I was staring at this. I was seated next to her wall of 200s, which are 200-yard half skeins of, she has them on her singles in a lot of her colors, which are great for color work or small projects.
Yes.
There's a lot of projects out there right now that need only 200 yards. It's also a bit more economical, a way of buying the yarn. So just due to that fact, also because yarn prices are going up
because of the tariffs from China on products from China. So a lot of the yarn constituent parts, unless it's locally grown and milled,
prices are going up.
Yeah.
And it's across the board, and so just, be aware. Obviously, don't stop buying from these great indie dyers, but just be aware. And it's not their fault that the prices are going up. They still have to be compensated for their time and effort in dyeing it, and if their costs go up, they shouldn't have to absorb all of that.
Right.
Just a thought. So that was that. That was lovely.
Meanwhile, I stayed in the car and did knitting on this, because by now I had come back, read the pattern, had my yarn, and so I had brought this with me to work on, and with size 3s. So I was working on this in the car.
And because your knee was already acting up.
Well, I wanted to protect
and we
it.
Wanted to protect
Last
it.
year, I managed to overdo things, and I was in agony by Sunday. So I didn't want to overdo things. We had seen the line. It looked really long. I really can't
do it anymore.
Do that. I can't stand on the knee. I had a seated cane, but just to keep moving in the line just didn't make sense to me. And I'd already bought a fair amount of yarn. I had intended to spend what I spent at Indie Untangled and in Saugerties, and I was quite happy. So I really didn't need to go see anything else. And I had bought the Rhinebeck bag and package from Lady Dye. So really, of the designers that were inside, I was pretty happy already. So I texted Elizabeth and said at 5:30, I'm going to get in line at the church so that we will have seats for dinner, which is what I did. I went on up to the church at 5:30, had my cane, was seated on the cane.
Did Ashby text
I'm coming.
You? Okay.
And Ashby and
Shamika
came along in the car and were beeping and waving, and someone grabbed my attention. They said, come on down. So I actually waited in the car with Shamika and Ashby. Thank you so much. That was really very sweet.
Well,
and warm.
So funny story.
It was getting a little chilly.
Funny story. Ashby texted me saying, are you with your mom? Your mom is outside. And I was like, yes, I know. She has decided she's going to line up, and because there was a line forming, and that's what she wanted to do. And I'm over at Yarn Bazaar. I'll be walking over at about 5:50, So, yeah, and she goes, okay. And I was like, invite my mother to sit in the car, please. And she goes, oh, I was already doing that. And I was like, okay, good. Just letting you know, please do this.
See, and I thought they just drove up.
Well, they had just driven up, but then they saw you, and they were like, no.
Well, it was very sweet, and I always love talking with them, so
yes. That
was lovely. And we weren't in the car. I wasn't in the car more than 10 minutes, and they opened the doors to the parish hall. So then we decided, well, they were already parked. We decamped. We got our wristbands and found seats. I met a lovely woman, Helen, who works at John Jay College, and she had a walker, and I with my cane. So she and I were at one end of one of the long tables. So we really she was stopping traffic already. I figured, well, I'm just going to add to the mess. So we took up one end of the table, and then Ashby and Shamika went on down the table, and we saved a space for Elizabeth. And what was really fun at the String Thing dinner is that they had my Brooklyn Boy Knit, right?
Brooklyn Boy Knits, Louie
has a working relationship with Knit Crate. And he had managed to get 100 Knit Crate boxes.
Because they only thought that 100 people were going to
be at the dinner. That's what Felicia had told him. He said, how many people do we have? She says, we have 100. So he got 100 Knit Crate boxes, and these are the monthly boxes that get sent. And what gets sent is 2 skeins of wool. This is fingering.
Yep.
This is from Knitology. And
Super
it
soft.
is
It's an MCN, I believe.
Citrus Squeeze. It is merino, yes. It's merino, 75% nylon, 15%, and 10% cashmere. It is 439 yards, so it's really very nice. So you get 2 skeins of wool. You get a pattern book.
You get there's a set of buttons in there, and also sometimes a stitch marker or something. A few little goodies.
Little
show up.
doodads. So we've got ladybug buttons. I didn't see any stitch markers this time.
I didn't either.
But in here, there are patterns for 2 different socks knitted and 1 pattern for crocheted socks. Here's the crocheted socks. So, and then a boy knits in Brooklyn said that he...
Brooklyn Boy Knits.
Brooklyn Boy Knits. I apologize, Louie. And another fellow who was there that we had induced to have a picture taken.
I'm going to look him up because I...
are going to be the knitwear designers for the Knit Crate box in January. So I got there, obviously I was there right on time, and I got the coupon for the Knit Crate box, and Elizabeth came in enough time to get her coupon for the Knit Crate box, and we got Knit Crate boxes there that night. The people who were not the first 100, Louis asked for their names and address, their contact information, so that they could be sent Knit Crate boxes, because he felt sure that Knit Crate would want to reward them for coming. It was a great knit night. We had barbecue from a restaurant across the street.
That it was gluten-free.
Yes, and it was
I think
delicious.
his name is Vincent, but I can't remember his Instagram handle right now.
And it was absolutely delicious, and so we had a lovely time of about 4 hours of knitting and chatting, and it was a lot of fun. Just a great deal of fun. We finally left about 9:45.
Yeah.
And we were going to be teaching the next day.
So what also happened was there were some pop-up shops at this. So, also I got this, we got these "Hello, I'm worth it" stickers at Indian Tangled and at the String Thing Knit Night.
That bag that I just put away.
It's that bag right there. That bag right there is something you also just got.
Yes. That's in my list of things
to grab when I get to it. So Felicia had Yasmin of Designs by Yasmin make earrings, crochet earrings, out of their store colorway by Lola Bean, which it's a Brooklyn thing, I think. And I have been wanting earrings from Yasmin for a while. I think she's having a sale still this weekend, so go check it out. But I hadn't decided on a color, and I saw these, and they're super pretty. So I think these are going to be my first Design by Yasmin earrings.
And that's the colorway that I bought that night from Lola Bean. She had a special colorway for the String Thing Night. That's just not my color, and I'd already come out of my comfort zone.
But it looks great with this.
It does. But I'd already jumped out of my color
comfort zone.
Exactly. With my
Air de Lune.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so tired. Air de Lune sweater colorways that I decided I'm going to go back in my comfort zone. So from Lola Bean that night, I got 4 skeins of this String Thing store colorway.
It's a string thing. It's a string thing.
Right. And because she said she could only buy 1 or 2 skeins of the Friday night colorway, it just wasn't my thing. So I have 4. I came away with the sweaters quantity from the store colorway.
Yes, because Felicia had brought the store colorway with her as well. And then Shelly Can was there, and I picked up a Shelly Can pin from her because I totally walked by her booth. But you got this bag.
That's why I brought it over.
So I do like the bag that she kept kind of secret until the day of Indie Untangled, and I kept on forgetting to go back and get it. So I think I'm going to probably order that from her, because she did essentially the Grateful Dead bears, but holding donuts for Woolstock, because that was her unofficial theme of the weekend. So Mom picked up a Rhinebeck bag, which is the same size as my pizza bag.
It's a great size bag.
It is.
And in here, you're right, this is where I have stashed my Lola Bean.
Yeah.
That I got, which is the store colorway.
Yeah.
So that
it is. It's a string thing. You wouldn't understand. That's the colorway.
Right.
And
it's 80/20.
Yep. So. And it's plied. It'll be lovely.
Yes, it'll be a great sweater.
And then
I love this size bag.
I know.
I don't need a sweater size bag. I need a pizza carton size bag. This is fantastic. I'm so excited.
She is. I mean, it is. If you all follow Shamika, you'll see that it fits 41 skeins of fingering weight yarn, because she pre-ordered it and she really wanted to know how big it was. So we also sat with Karen from Feisty Fibers and her friend, the yarn therapist Jen, right? Yes, Jen came by and was giving out these removable stitch markers to everyone, which was so lovely.
For Indie Untangled, I wore this sweater, which I had made. This is the test knit from Hedgehog Fibers. So this was my Rhinebeck sweater for Friday.
Yes, and I mostly wore the t-shirt from Indie Untangled, and then I also wore my Nanilchik that I had modified. So, yeah.
Mom has left the picture.
Mom has gone wandering. So that was our Friday. We also stayed up, and let me put away all of my goodies, and then I will show you. We also stayed up and hemmed my coat. Yes, you did hear that right. Hemmed my coat. Because it's done. Well, almost. We're going to machine hem
Finishing needs to be done.
So it has its collar, it has its lining, and it was whip stitched, hemmed by me till about 2 a.m. Friday
so she could wear it on Saturday.
And it was lovely to wear on Saturday. It was a little chill in the morning, and then I wore it when I walked around Rhinebeck between our two classes.
She went up to the hill.
I did.
They've changed the hours at Rhinebeck. They still open at 9 o'clock, but the classes start at 10. So that would give the
I think they start at 9 either 9 or 10, yeah.
The classes start at 10.
Oh, okay.
Because they had so much problems over the years of people with classes at 9 wanting to get in early. But the retailers couldn't sell before 9.
Mm-hmm.
So the people at classes were having a little bit of a fit. So there's an hour in between. What that means is lunch is only an hour. So if you're a podcaster or someone like us who reaches out to the public perhaps a little bit more on social media, you only have that hour. And we were teaching 2 classes. So we only had the hour between 1 and 2. I decided to get the second class ready and eat lunch in the building rather than take my cane and going on an adventure up to the hill. I mean, I had all that I needed for lunch, brought it with me. So I had lunch in the building. I didn't leave the building until after the second class. I didn't wear a new Rhinebeck sweater. I wore my tunic that had made from Long Island
Yarn and Farm
out of the Christy Glass colorway. And I know I've shown you all this before, and I had another skein of a coordinating yarn for the collar, but the body is all of
the Long Island Yarn and Farm.
Yarn and Farm. So that's what I wore. Because, the building can be quite chilly. Even though it had warmed up during the day.
It was 35 degrees.
The building
when we woke up
gets very chilly and maintains that chill. Karen does get a huge propane heater to heat up the building. But that's why I wore the tunic. I knew we were going to be in there all day, and I didn't want to freeze. So
I wore my Chuck, which wasn't, isn't a Rhinebeck sweater per se, but it's a sweater I have knit myself. And really the star of the show on Saturday was my coat. Was featured on a few of my friends' Instagrams yesterday.
She was doing the twirl.
Yes. So on Saturday, before we started teaching, I went out to the Merritt bookstore. I just realized I have a copy of Clara Parks's Vanishing Fleece somewhere.
Over there. Mm-hmm. I think it's over there on the desk I saw.
Okay, good, because I don't recall seeing it since we were teaching. But I know I must have grabbed it. Okay, so but I also grabbed 5 skeins of Ocean by the Sea Surrey alpaca and silk from Merritt Bookstore. They were hosting the Pom Pom magazine booth, and I really love this Surrey alpaca.
It's gorgeous.
I got this. It's on the Gosling base, which I said is the Surrey alpaca and silk, and it's called Moonshine, and it's this lovely light gray.
It's beautiful.
It's just lovely.
Pearl. It's almost like pearlescence.
Yes, because it kind of has a little bit of peach, a little bit of purple, but it's like such a lovely gray. So I have an idea. I might use it to hold double with something with for a Stephen West that I have an idea for, with some advent calendar kind of stuff that we'll talk about probably later in the year. Mm-hmm. But she didn't have the yak fingering base, which is what I was really looking for. But she did say that in her November update she's going to have that. So I might suck it up and order and have the London shipping with that, because I really love her rose milk colorway. It's this really lovely like pink, like petal pink. And
nice.
What I don't look good in is the light yellows, but I love them. But I do look good in light pinks. So I think I might do it. But we'll see what is available when she updates. I also, as Mom said, went up to the hill between our 2 classes, and I met up with Lady Di and my friend Amy. And Lady Di was talking about Knit Stars, so she had these little handouts with a pin that say "Knit the World Together," and Diane is going to be talking about moving the conversation that has been occurring on social media forward, and bringing it off of social media and into the community at large, and how to do that and how to address the issues that we've been talking about. And
which
that
was also spoken about at dinner on Friday night.
Yes, which also dovetails with her Be the Change initiative that she's doing with her tour, as well as I think she's restarting her podcast. So that was Saturday at Rhinebeck. We taught 2 classes. We taught thrummed mittens and
thrummed mittens. It looks like a candy. It looks like an ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the thrums on the inside, and this is going to be my thrummed mitten. I'm using a braid that was part of the giveaway that a friend of ours did. So I'm using this braid
from Nerd Girl
with my multicolored mittens, and these are DK Aran. These are Aran Weight Thrum mittens. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, so you can get that. And what I love about the thrums is it helps keep your mitten so warm. I was combining techniques from a number of different patterns that I've used for thrum mittens, and so I was teaching the bow ties using thrums, so that instead of just having the thrum and loose ends in your mitten, folding over the ends, twisting and making a bow tie and putting that in your mitten, because then it ends up being fluffier.
And it also then won't felt to itself like on the other side of your mitt
as quickly. That was our first class.
That was the morning class.
In the afternoon class, we got people conversant with 10 different cast-ons.
Yeah.
And what was fun, what really worked out well, is between Elizabeth, myself, and our friend Rachel,
who was taking the class,
we had enough knitting experience that when someone on any of these cast-ons said, well, what would you use that for? We could tell them easily 2 or 3 different types of knitting that it would be critical for. So Norwegian cast-on, the funniest thing was, well, why would you be dealing with Norwegian or twisted German cast-on? I go, so you can do this, and either on your mittens, your gloves, or your socks.
Or the brim of a hat.
Or the brim of a hat. So we had visual aids that really, it worked out well. So I think the classes went really well. Thank you to all who came.
Yeah.
Thank you. A special thank you to Rachel. She has volunteered to be my tech editor on anything I put out to the public, because
we're both dyslexic, so sometimes we don't see how it reads weird because
we don't see it.
We don't see it.
So anyway, thank you, Rachel. A really special thank you to you. And then we went from there over to Kingston, but we didn't go on the road through the woods. We tried that one year, trying to get to Jill Draper. We had tickets to Jill Draper's studio, and it was an hour. We were going to leave at 5. The studio was going to be open, through 7 or 8?
Yeah.
And it opened at 6. We said, well, we have an hour to get there. It's right over the bridge. The road through the woods is a nightmare. So when I realized that our next event was going to be in Kingston, I said, we're driving to Poughkeepsie. We're crossing the Mid-Hudson Bridge, and we're driving up, and we will be faster than we will be if we go through the woods, because the road through the woods is a single lane each way, and the traffic is incredible. It's just insane. So that's what we did, and on our way up to the Christy Glass bowling
As if bowling
event,
tea night.
Yes, we stopped off at the diner and got dinner. It was delicious. It was a diner in Kingston, so really good. It was along Route 9 West. Recommended highly. And then we went to the Patel Bowling Alley.
Yes.
And we were there for the bowling night, if you want to talk about that.
So we went to the Christy Glass bowling night for the As If Tea. For those of you who remember, I was knitting one. Yeah, I didn't finish it. No, I didn't wear it. I was comfortable in what I was wearing. I wanted to get this done more than have this for the bowling night. I will finish this because it's very pretty, and I think I will wear it often once I finish it. But I didn't get it done. But I also decided a little later that I was going to even try to knit one for the event. So, yeah.
So Shay won the all-over trophy, didn't she?
She won a trophy for Breakout Design of 2019.
Oh.
Chrissy had a trophy for Breakout Design of 2019 and gave it to Shay of Knit and Crochet, who designed the As If Tea, who is lovely. I mean, just lovely. Met her at the bowling night. Mm-hmm. We saw a bunch of our friends who we, had seen the night before, but got to see them again.
Because we usually see them at different knitting events. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And so we sat, we knit. We did not bowl because
those knees things.
Those knees, our knees are not conducive to bowling.
Bending,
yeah.
Bending's a thing.
Bending is a tough thing for us right now. And we had taught, so we were tired. So we left a little early from there. We saw Shamika, and Shamika finished her As If Tea in time for the contest. There was a woman who put a bowling pin and bowling ball on her As If Tea, which was just clever. And I think she had her own bowling ball and bowling shoes, too. I think she's a bowling person.
Right.
Which is it was so great. So we did that. Mom
Mhm.
saw a woman in an as-if tee that made her think twice about the pattern.
Yes, she had made it longer. She had put some waist shaping in. And it was a white one where there is a garter rib about every inch, inch and a half going down the body of the tee. I thought it was stunning that way. So rather than a crop top, a longer version with some waist shaping was just gorgeous. So it made a lot of sense.
So then we came back.
And I voted for her.
Yeah. So then we came back and, well, to tell you the truth, we don't know who won any of the other prizes at Christie's because we were towards the back and Christy was losing her voice, which is perfectly reasonable. But we were tired and we were not going to get up. I'm pretty sure Shamika won something because I heard her go, woo, and run forward. But that's
there were something like 10 winners.
Yeah, which is great. So that was fun. And then we came back and
I fell asleep.
Yep.
I fell out.
Yep. So
I drove.
Yes.
Came up here. We started listening to an Audible book on tape. And next thing I know, I got one row on my cardigan done. And I laid it in my lap and I closed my eyes. And Elizabeth then poked me and said, if you're going to fall asleep, go to bed. So basically that's what I did. I got one row on my cardigan done yesterday.
So we then decided we were going to do a little bit of a later breakfast and go to Rhinebeck a little later than usual.
We thought there would be some space in the parking lots by 11 o'clock where people might have run in, bought what they had seen on Saturday, and then come back out again.
Or they ran in, got whatever they wanted, and were out. Because I did that my first few years. The first year I was here by myself. I was done by about noontime, both days. So we went to bed. We got up then this morning, and we ended up not meeting up with friends for breakfast. So we stayed here, and I finished my Humulus by Isabel Kramer. It's going to go through the wash because it needs to just settle down in the colorwork section. But it's really, really pretty, and it's really comfortable, and I'm really glad I made it. And then, as we said, we figured, all right, let's drive over there. Mm-hmm. So we drove over to Rhinebeck, and we
just missed getting a parking spot.
Yeah.
At the top.
At the Mulberry Gate.
Yeah, because we saw the last car go in and they started unpacking, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we drove down to the main gate and we went in and they were still filling in the field.
Yes.
We were back by pole D, if you know, or if you were there. So we were pretty far back, or decently far back.
It wasn't actually that bad, but there was a lot of empty spaces.
So as we were walking forward, there were more empty spaces, and Mom was grumbly because we were both sore.
I was exhausted.
And we were tired. And so we get up to the crosswalk, and I saw the parking, another parking attendant, and I said, so my mom just found out she's going to need a knee replacement in the spring, so she's limping and she's got, her cane. We had to park all the way back there. I saw some spots were just vacated up here. Can I move the car up so that she doesn't have to walk that far back after we've walked through? And he was like, how about you drive up, you'll go and check out the handicap lot. And I think this is the lot he pointed me to is the lot that they have for people who, might need more
help with their mobility,
but do not have the handicap sticker. So I ran back, I got the car, and I went up and I got a spot in the lot, essentially right next to the red barn that you go in through the main gate.
Meanwhile, I was puffing along with my cane, my backpack, and a bag, my purple Whole Foods bag.
Because she was on a mission, and I was like, you keep going, I will find you.
So I got to bag check. So they're checking bags for the first time this year. that I can remember, because
Yeah.
normally we've gone in at the back gate by the barns, and I do not remember anybody checking any
Well,
bag.
they checked our bags yesterday going in through that gate.
All weekend they did check bags going in, which is fine. It's just something new. And then I worked my way forward and through the barn, and everybody was really pleasant. I had there was a little bit of a mix-up in that I didn't get a free ticket for Saturday, so I bought 2 e-tickets, and they worked really well on my phone. So they worked very well this year.
And I got a weekend pass, and it worked really well on my phone. I had one, essentially they scanned my barcode twice, once on Saturday and once on Sunday, and we had no problems.
We had no problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't get a weekend pass is I kept waiting for the email that would give me my one-day pass. Didn't happen. But, there's a lot of organization that goes on. I think that Karen does an amazing job getting classes going that she does. So I spent $8 that I might not have needed to spend, but it's not a big deal. So then I went on to the ladies' room while Elizabeth is doing all of this running around, and then she's looking on her phone for Find My Friends. And we had talked about going up to the Indian Lake Needle Company. And so she on her Find My Friends, it looked like I was at the needle place.
It looked like she was at the back end of a building, and I was like, oh, okay, she's up at, building A. Because it was like kind of where, and I was like,
together,
fine. So I walked up there. I was jogging. My knees are not happy that I did that, but I was finding my mom. I was making sure we were
terrific today.
I tried so hard.
You did.
So, we busted up there, and then I'm standing outside kind of like,
where is she?
Where is she? Like, I've walked through, and then I don't know, and I don't see Mom. I don't hear the cane sound. So I'm like, all right. I don't know. So I started like walking back towards the entrance, and then my mom calls me, and she goes, I'm at the bathrooms. And I was like, oh, I'm at building A. And she goes, okay, I'll meet you there. And I was like, okay. So I ended up actually starting to walk back towards the bathrooms just to meet up with her sooner. And that was great. And I told Mom that I had moved the car, and she was very excited.
Very excited.
So now we know that for next year.
Yes.
And years to come.
I may have a hang tag.
You also might have a hang tag by then due to said replacement. So we then went to Indian Lake.
Yes.
And Mom.
I am blaming this on Ashby.
So Ashby, you are officially on notice as being an enabler.
Oh, yes.
And my mother is not too upset, but slightly frustrated because she's like, gosh darn it, I didn't need this, but I like it.
All right, so Ashby was telling me about their hexagon needles at the Saturday night bowling at Christie Glass. And so I said, well, I'll go up and I will get some size 3 needles, because in my hanging containment bag of needles, I only had 3 size 3 needles, and obviously I need more because I'm obviously breaking the crud out of them. So I got one cherry 40-inch, and I got one maple 40-inch. That's not on Ashby. That's me. But Ashby at bowling was telling me about their ceramic needles, and it's a set
of interchangeables.
And they start at size 3. Yes, Ashby, I bought the set. So they are the hexagon needles. They feel very much like they're wooden needles.
They do.
And what they told me was that if this doesn't feel good in my hand, that they have longer needle tips that they would exchange. So I will see how these feel and decide whether or not I want the longer needle tips.
And they're at Vogue too, so you can do the exchange there.
Yes,
probably.
And what comes with it
is 2 cords,
like
3 cords,
3 cords,
and there are 2 connector cables to cord. So if you needed a longer cord, you could make it that way. It's a lovely little box.
It is a very nice little box, and I'm going to try to keep these together since my others are all over the place. And what I wore today was my cardigan that I had been working on like a fiend. So I wore my brioche cardigan.
The amber leafy coat. Here, I'll hold it up so you can scoot over more.
Okay, so this is how far I got it. I am on row 83. It goes to 103. So I've got 20 more rows. Excuse me, if I were to do...
So how much of a pattern repeat is that? Is that one more pattern repeat?
No, it's probably 3 more pattern repeats.
So maybe you'll do 1 or 2 and we'll just see how it continues to grow.
Each?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably 3 inches. Is that 3 inches? I'd say it's at least 2, if not 3 more of these things. Right now, this is a crop top. I did finish the sleeves, as you can see, and it's a contrast or the reverse of the body of the sweater. We met up with Amy from BNMA, and I'm starting to talk to Amy, and Elizabeth goes, Mom, that's Nancy Marsh on there. I went, hi! This is my first brioche project since I took the class with you in January. So I think she got a kick out of seeing the fact that one sometimes just jumps right in. And then she said, you don't really have to worry about...
Because you were talking about how
the
sleeves, you would like them about
longer.
A bit longer.
And she says, well, don't do anything at the moment. They will probably lengthen once you...
wear it or have it hanging. And
right.
It loosens up and you block it.
And you block it. It will probably lengthen. I said, okay. So at that moment, I thought, well, maybe I won't make any more of these designs on my jacket. But I came back and I've got a lot of yarn left. So I think I want to make... I'd like to get down to at least 93 and use up more of the yarn. The Jill Draper's been fine to work with, although it's still somewhat stiff. And so both Amy and Nancy said, oh, you made it in cotton. I said, no, I made it in Jill Draper, which is wool. But apparently the way the Jill Draper sits in the design before it is bathed as a sweater, it looks like cotton. It was really quite warm. I was surprised because it's a very open knit, but it was quite warm. So that was nice. At about noon, though, it started to rain, so I covered it up with one of my light rain jackets. But I've been getting compliments on it all day. I'm very glad that I did the design. And I will be doing at least one more repeat of the pattern down here. I don't know that if I'll do down to 103, but it's a success. I am very pleased. Very, very pleased.
So we saw them, and that was absolutely lovely.
Yes.
They're both wonderful people, as we've said before on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was great to see them, and it was very good because, Amy was saying that Mom was very on trend with her cropped look. And,
unfortunately, I'm not comfortable with the cropped look.
Which is fine.
Yes.
But then Nancy did say about the brioche growing. So we might put it on a hanger and see how it grows once Mom gets to a point where she feels more comfortable with her yarn usage.
Yes.
So Sunday, today is Sunday. We met up with our friend Gail, who is the wife of one of my coworkers.
Yes.
So we saw Tom and Gail today, and that was lovely. And we sat and
Very
chatted for a while. And then I went and picked up your Rhinebeck Club from Lady Di, because Lady Di had offered to bring anyone who was going to be at Rhinebeck, their Rhinebeck Club. And so Mom had opted into that. And
well, I got the email and I said, I really don't need to be running around picking it up at Rhinebeck. I can be patient and I can have it mailed to me at home. That's fine. But then
my friend Amy had mentioned that someone had not picked theirs up and who was supposed to be at Rhinebeck ended up not being at Rhinebeck, and so said if my mom still wanted it today, that we could get it from her. So We did.
Here's the bag. No sleep till Rhinebeck.
And actually, Amy's husband did the print or the
Design?
heat transfer of the bag. Not the design, but the actual heat, doing of the fancy heat transfer.
So I have a sock blank. It is,
Chionne DK.
Yes, 3-ply, 250 yards.
From Three Fates Yarns. It's a beautiful purple.
It really is. Then I have a pin. Rebel with a Cause 2020. There you go.
Which is the whole
Talking
tour about the discussions going on in the world, in the knitting community, as well as the current political climate, and how if we can get this many people to come to knitting events, we can get this many people to vote or to get involved with phone banks and volunteering in that way as well, because
to be open with our political discussion,
we've got to get it. We've got to do something.
Then I have a pin. This is from Crochet Luna that says no sleep
till
Rhinebeck,
which is the same logo that's on the bag.
Yes. And then I have Wishes Magic Yarn. I think
that's a Cece pin. That's Cece's
is it?
pin. Yeah. Yeah, that's Cece, Creative Sussy's pin.
Okay, and then there is the Rhinebeck colorway. And this is Knitting Bro Yarns, hand-dyed in Pennsylvania. Rhinebeck in autumn.
Ooh.
And it's looking greener on the screen than it is in person.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more orange on the screen than orange in person than it is on the screen. And it's really pretty. But,
Sockums.
Yes, definitely Sockums.
Rhinebeck Sockums.
And then, what is this?
The Three Fates yarn information.
Okay.
There was also a donation to a organization, I can't remember which one, but there was also a donation that went along in the name of the club when you got the club.
So I got my Rhinebeck Club. Others, it will be shipped when she gets back home, Monday or Tuesday, for anyone who is getting it shipped to home, which is what I had anticipated until Elizabeth said, they've got a couple, and if you want one, they said you get one. So I came away with that. So I didn't buy the yarn today, but I'm coming home with it today. And I think that's all my yarn.
Yeah. So Trish from Carpe Yarn, who I met last summer, was at Rhinebeck this year. So we saw her at Indian Tangled and at the different events on Friday. And then she came and sat next to us and had her lunch with us this afternoon. And so it was lovely to see her. I'm glad she's here. I'm glad she came. So after that, we then walked around a little bit. We picked up a gift for someone whose birthday is next week. We're not going to show it to you because we know they watch this.
I left it in the car.
You did.
I did.
Well, we're not going to show you.
Mistake.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we will maybe show you next week. Maybe they'll post about it next week.
Maybe they'll post about it. We can take a picture.
We can. So that is all. We didn't get to the barns today. I think I've passed the point of maybe popping a migraine, but I was in a really weird mood today. I wanted to go do things, but I didn't want to go do things, which usually indicates that I'm about to pop a really bad migraine. But I didn't, so that was good. But I was getting hungry, and I didn't want French fries, like just French fries for lunch, which is rare, but also like indicative of when I get a really bad migraine. I want to eat everything. So we decided to leave, and we left at about, 1:30?
We were on the road by 1:30, so I'd say we left about 1.
So we did only spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours today. But it was lovely. The show was wonderful.
It was.
We didn't do as much walking around and shopping as we do usually. But I think that was fine this year. Like,
we're not going home in pain.
No, we are not going home in pain. I mean, I'm a little bit more in pain than usual, but that's fine because it's what happens.
We're in good shape.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to pack up. We're going to stop off for dinner.
But we came back and we went to the diner is what I was going to say. And
Yes.
we got lunch. And then we came back to the hotel because we booked the hotel through Monday so we could stay here a little later.
Yeah.
And we took a nap.
It was great.
It was awesome.
It was perfect.
And now we're recording.
That's right.
But yeah, so now we're going to finish packing up. I think we're going to get sushi for dinner.
Yes.
And then we'll drive home.
Yes.
And we
Sushi
will-
to go.
Yes. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.